program do not necessarily reflect or represent those of the owners, management, or advertisers of Pacific Telestations Inc. This message has been brought to you by the stations of KUAM.
You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting show tonight. This is episode 1 of 2 episodes. Part 2 will be shown next Wednesday evening. I'd like to welcome in studio the mayor of Tinian, Mayor Joey Patrick San Nicolas, okay, and also a resident of Tinian and now resident of Guam as well, as from the University of Guam, a student, freshman at the University of Guam, Kyle Sandbergen, and they're here actually to talk to us about the military buildup, environmental impact statement or study in Tinian's perspective. Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
And good evening, Kyle. How are you doing? First of all, congratulations on your election. I know you're a new mayor.
That's right. I started in January.
There you go. But congratulations, boy. You hit the road running, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. You know, I asked you to come in, and thank you. You just caught a flight in.
Yes.
But thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to fly into Guam to talk to us about, again, the military buildup in Tinian's perspective. You know, we heard through this, we know about our environmental impact statement and our military buildup here, but in the perspective of the CNMI, we hear some about it, you know, bits and pieces. We want to hear exactly from you folks because, again, you know, in our ignorance at this point, we understand, or I understand at least, that you know, I don't know if it was your predecessor or, again, collectively, all lawmakers in the CNMI, there was a big invite for the military, again, to come over there. Into office, here it is, presented to you. You have public hearings starting actually tonight, you know, in Tinian, then moves to Saipan Thursday.
Actually, on Thursday.
Thursday,
night.
yeah,
Yes.
and then also back to Tinian, right? For
No, just one night on Tinian,
One
2 nights on Saipan.
in Saipan, okay,
Yes.
okay, got it. So anyway, thanks for the clarification. But again, you come in, hit the road running, where are we at?
Well, first of all, just I guess some minor clarifications
okay.
there. There are different activities that are proposed for the island of Tinian.
Okay.
One of the activities is called the deferred airfield.
Deferred airfield, okay.
And that is actually something that most of the leaders of Tinian and even
Welcome.
Saipan welcome. It's the use of our airport facility.
Expands it out and all that,
for
yeah.
the purpose of providing divert types of drops or airfields,
sure.
exercises. But what we're talking about, I think, for today is the CJMT,
Okay, yeah.
the Joint Military Training for the island of Tinian, and also Pagan.
Okay.
So there are those of us who do agree with certain types of activities and really honor the agreement, that the covenant that provided for the 2/3 of Tinian to the military.
Sure.
But for this particular type of activity, that's really detailed in the draft environmental impact statement.
Yeah.
The people of Tinian and the leadership are concerned. Tinian is a beautiful place, and Kyle can talk to you all about it. You know, the Tinian that he grew up in.
Sure,
It's very hospitable, clean, pristine, a place where anybody would love to return to after going to school, or tourists wanting to take a vacation.
Sure.
But there's going to be impacts to our environment. There's going to be impacts to our way of life. And now is the time to comment. Now is the time to review. And one of the reasons why I'm out here in Guam is I've been reaching out to our young people and to anybody who will listen, that it's so important to be aware of what these proposals are, especially for those at the University of Guam or GCC who are from Tinian. Get involved, read the draft EIS, understand what these alternatives are, and provide your comments.
Now, Mayor, let me ask you, and Kyle, jump in anytime. In regards to the environmental impact statement and what it is that you welcome and would like to see versus things that you oppose or have great concerns about, is this, at least in your perspective, is this all or nothing? we can carve this out and do this versus this. How is this all again bundled up? Can you segregate? Can you pull things out of this? I mean, I know there are public hearings that are going to be happening.
That's right.
Starting tonight. Yeah, but can you carve things out? Can you take things out, extract, put things in, and that will work out?
Well, the issue for us here is the whole idea of a live fire training.
Okay.
And it's explicit in the executive summary and all throughout the draft TIS that for several weeks out of the year, part of the training would be the dropping of grenades. Either from the air, from a plane, or the shooting of a machine gun from a plane down to the high impact area, or using the high impact area on ground as target practice, and again using of artillery, mortar, shell type of ballistics.
Are they using that right now? At least in Pagan, aren't they? And isn't that area being used as every once in a exercise?
It's not being used on Tinian.
No, but in Pagan at this point, I mean, when some exercises happen, don't they do that already now?
No, what they're using is Farallon de Mendoza.
Oh, okay.
They use that as for their bombing exercises.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
So this is actually a new type of new exercise for Tinian and for Pagan, and so I think I can also speak for the mayor of the Northern Islands, Jerome Adan.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've read that he's definitely opposed to that. That although there are few residents there are more that are wanting to come back to that island, and he wants to actually develop that out as a tourist destination.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So with all of those potential economic benefits, tourism for Pagan, and of course Tinian with our casino industry, having that type of live fire exercise just within walking distance from where most of us live or where the tourists would be staying is going to have a negative impact on our economy.
I mean, 2/3 of the island. Mayor, how big and how wide is Tinian?
Tinian is about 11 miles long, about 4 miles wide.
Okay, so 3/4 of the island is under the lease of the military, right?
About 2/3.
Okay, and of course that expires 2025, right?
Well, actually later than that, because they have the option.
The option to renew for another 50 years. Okay.
Yes.
Now, is this a mutually consenting agreement? It has to be mutually consenting to it, or is it automatic?
It's automatic. It was
okay.
something that was contemplated back in '78.
Oh, okay. So you have 10 years plus, so you have 60 years basically on top of that.
Yes.
Now, again, 3/4 of the island. I mean, we have some problems here because we say a good part of the island is taken, but 3/4. I mean, how do you have normal lives in a quarter of environment that? Wow. I mean, I'm looking at this, I'm going, oh, this could potentially, when I'm watching news headlines, on war zones, and I'm going, although it's not a war zone, it's an exercise, right?
Yes.
The exercise, I'm going, you're going to be living in this environment. I mean,
That's right.
how can you not hear it from the schools, from the churches, and things like that? Kyle, you're sitting here, you're here, but that's your home.
Right.
You got a brother there that's going to be graduating.
I do.
Congratulations to him as well. But when you hear this, how does you have a ways yet until you go back and settle, because you got to finish your schooling here and grad school, probably in Europe. But you're going to return home.
I am. Well, hearing about this, what I love about Tinian growing up was the fact that Tinian always had that timeless feel to it, where you could probably leave Tinian for, say, 15 years and come back and it would still feel like home. Not much would have changed. And so I feel like the JMT would probably, it would change that forever. And back at the dorms at the University of Guam, we have a lot of Northern Mariana Island students. And like I told the mayor prior to this, there are a lot of opinions being thrown around there. But generally, and I believe I speak on behalf of the youth when I say this, the CJMT is not exactly seen as a positive thing for the Northern Mariana Islands.
Now, the CGMT you're talking about, that's the point of contention. That's what's opposed. Now, a predecessor, your predecessor, or the invite from the military, were they not then in favor of CGMT, or were they kind of, how you know, because
I thought that my predecessor actually was not in favor of the live fire training exercises. I don't know if he said it as loudly as maybe the mayor of the Northern Islands. But you know, it's 2015, and this is what we're facing now.
Absolutely, and that's why again I asked the two of you to come join us, because you know we read this from news reports that come out, and again. For our lack of again knowledge of what's happening over there, and what you guys would welcome versus not, we want the clarification, because yeah, it's impacting, and you know, likewise we have a lot of the same issues as well in regards to that. But we have a lot of the same issues, but you're quite a bit smaller than us.
Yeah.
And so when we look at our size, we think we're small. Wow, we have someone, you know, I mean, you know, what do they say? There's always somebody worse off than yourself.
Well, hopefully Tinian isn't worse off. But you know, in my conversation with Professor Bavakia, he's like, you know, kind of put it in perspective for me. I'm like, okay, we're sitting here in my hotel in Truman. You have Big Navy on the south, and you have Anderson up north. What goes on in there, us in this hotel room, we would never know. We would never hear it. We would never sense it. But in my home, and most of our homes in Tinian, if what they're proposing up in northern part of Tinian happens, we will feel it.
And that's what I was asking. I said, how can you not hear it from the schools and churches and your place of employment or homes?
Because it's such a small island with, you know, the small community, and you know, and we're sensitive to these types of impacts. And you know, we've been here in the Mariana Islands, you know, for thousands of years, and we're going to be here for thousands of years more. And this kind of activity really will change our way of life. And I would dare say not just in Tinian, but throughout the Marianas.
Yeah. Mayor, I got to pay some bills. We'll come back after the